Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, thanks for joining me on this platform Manifested e-learning, and I'm going to teach you English activities for grade 4, continuing with what we had already started on reading of sound V. So welcome to the lesson. Concentrate and make sure that you are learning something out of what you are going to learn today. Now, during our previous lesson, we introduced ourselves to sound V, and we came across examples of words that have sound V. Then after the lesson, I gave you some work. You are supposed to practice reading the words, and after that, you also go through your work. So we are going to go through the work I gave you first before we continue with our lesson today. Now the words I gave you, the instructions were, so these are the words that I gave you during the previous lesson. You are supposed to practice reading them. And remember, there are words that have sound V. So I want us to read the words together for us to know if we read them in the correct way or you didn't read the word correctly. So I'll start reading the words, then later you will read it together with me. So I will start with the very first one. Make sure that you are looking at the word. I'm going to point using a pointer. So the very first word, we have the word vowel. Vowel. Then visitor. Visitor. Travel. Travel. Heavy. Heavy. Village. Village. Brave. Brave. Save. Save. Shave. Shave. Gloves. Gloves. Vary. Vary. Vain. Vain. Driver. Driver. I'm going to read the words one more time. Look at the word as I point. The first one, vowel. Vowel. Visitor. Visitor. Travel. Travel. Heavy. Heavy. Village. Village. Brave. Brave. Save. Save. Shave. Shave. Gloves. Gloves. Vary. Vary. Vain. Vain. Driver. Driver. So this is how you are supposed to read the words that I gave. Now I'm going to read the words one more time, then you'll be reading after me. You read after me after each word, from the first one to the last one. And when you are reading, make sure that you are pointing at that particular word. It is always good. You'll be able to know the word and how it is read. So as you read, make sure that you are pointing at what you are reading. Now I want you to observe on the board. You read after me and you repeat after each word. So the very first word, vowel. Vowel. Visitor. Visitor. Travel. Travel. Heavy. Heavy. Village. village, brave, brave, save, save, shave, shave, gloves, gloves, vary, vary, vain, vain. Lastly, driver, driver. So that's how you are supposed to read the words. Hope that if there is any word you aren't able to read, you've now known how you are supposed to go about it. So I'm going to give you more examples on words that have sound V. And remember, words that have sound V, it can either be at the beginning of the word or in the middle of the word. So let's talk about more examples. So more examples of words that have sound V, and we shall also talk about sentences. Now look at what I have on the board. These are just more examples of words that have sound V. And you can see sound V is either at the beginning or in the middle within the word. It depends on the type of word. So let's practice reading these words together and then proceed. So we shall start with the first word. I'm going to read. Thereafter, I will guide you on how to read the rest of the words. So starting with the very first word, we have the word oven. Oven. Oval. Oval. Then vase. Vase. Veil. Veil. Vary. Vary. And lastly, verify. Verify. I'm going to read the words one more time. Make sure you are listening and as well as looking on the board. First word, oven. Oven. Oval. Oval. Vase. Vase. Veil. Veil. Vary. Vary. Verify. Verify. Now let's read the words together. You repeat after me. The first word, oven. Oven. Oval. Oval. Vase. Vase. Veil. Veil. Vary. Vary. And lastly, verify. Verify. Now you can have as more words as possible. There are still many words that have sound V. These are just some of the words. We are still adding on what we had learned in the previous lesson. So let's see examples in sentences. How you can read words with sound V in a sentence. Going to have two sentences. So let's practice reading these sentences, and the sentences have words that have sound V. Let's start with the very first sentence. A very big ferry ferried very fragile vases. A very big ferry ferried very fragile vases. So let's read the sentence together. You repeat after me. A very big ferry ferried very fragile vases. A very big ferry ferried very fragile vases. Now this sentence looks as if it's a tongue twister, and when you are reading it, you're supposed to be very careful. You look at each word, because there are some words you can say sound v instead of sound. So as you read the sentence, make sure that you are looking at each word. The second sentence, the visitor from the village is very brave. The visitor from the village is very brave. Let's read the sentence together. The visitor from the village is very brave. So these are just examples of how we can have words with sound v in a sentence and how you're supposed to go about them. Make sure when reading you look at each word for you to have the correct pronunciation of the word. So I'm going to give you more exercise on sound v. Copy the exercise in your exercise book and make sure that you are doing the exercise according to the instructions. So the exercise is here. So practice reading the following sentences. You are going to practice reading these sentences. And in the sentences, there are words that have sound v. So you read sentence number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And remember, when you are reading, you look at the word for you to have the correct pronunciation of the word. So thanks for being good listeners. I have been Teacher Purity. Hope to see you next time.